Hello. Hello. I believe the broadcast is live. So, I don't see anybody in the chat, so I'm going to give it a couple seconds. But just want to hop on and do a quick stream update on the progress I've made on my 2019 goal list. Um, It is Thursday before Memorial Day weekend, so I'm looking forward to this long weekend, doing a little bit of relaxing. It'll be nice. Comic Geek McD, good to see you, bro. Hope you're doing all right. I was sorry to hear about Forbidden Planet International shutting down over there. That's a bummer. We have a Forbidden Planet, the original one, I believe, uh, in New York, or maybe it's the second one, and the original one is in somewhere else. It's one way or the other. But I do occasionally go to the Forbidden Planet in Manhattan. They mostly have new books and toys and statues and things like that. Not a ton of back issues, but cool shop. They got this Captain America shield on the like the doors. So like the two handles of the double doors to enter the store is shaped like Captain America's shield. It's pretty cool. Um, yeah, we have the original. Yeah, sorry to hear that, dude. That is not cool. Um, Bear Island, what's up, bro? Thanks for stopping in. So I'm just gonna give it like another minute or two, and then I'm gonna get right into the uh, contents of the stream. Um, yeah, man. I I when I saw that, I was like, oh man, that really sucks. And hope you're taking care of yourself. So the point of me wanting to do this stream is twofold, I guess. One, because the year is sort of approaching halfway over. I mean, I guess there's still technically a month left to go until we're at the halfway point um, for 2019. But also I haven't been buying a lot of stuff really at all. I'm on like a total buying freeze at the moment, outside of my like handful of books that I pick up on New Comic Book Day for reading. So thought to myself, may as well start making some videos utilizing the books I've already added to my collection, books that are already in my collection. Other shows like the Gotham City Chronicles where we talk about stories and stuff like that. So might have a few more things in the works, but I'm also kind of gearing up to move pretty soon. So I wanted to sneak this one out there so that I can get it in, because I don't, once I start moving, I don't know when I'll be back up and running as far as being able to hop on streams. I got to get everything sorted, and I don't even know when I'll have internet. So, but that'll be in a couple weeks. So I do have a little bit of time. Gorilla Todd, what's up, man? Good to see you. Dre Boogie, thanks for stopping in. Good to see you. So at the end, I think it was at the end of 2018, maybe the beginning of 2019. Just Rican, what's up, Rob? So I think it was at the end of last year or the beginning of this year. I put out a video with my 2019 goal list. And I had split it up sort of into like different categories. Like here was my Amazing Spider-Man goal list. Here was my Batman goal list. Here was my Daredevil goal list. Here was my stretch goal list. Here was my Star Wars goal list. So I kind of, I probably was a little bit too ambitious with the list. I think I had 13 books on the list, and I have not gotten remotely close to the initial goals I've set out, and probably while I do this stream, I'll be adjusting the goals significantly because throughout this process, um, I've just sort of determined that, like, that's too many. I feel like six is a nice sort of round number amount. I was talking to DS Comics about that. Um, and 13's too many. Like, especially when I sort of was pretty ambitious and putting sort of, bigger targets on there. Um, it's just too many. It's too many books to, like, go after and feel pressure to get. So I had never actually made a goal list before. And I don't know if I will again, honestly, next year. If I do make a 2020 goal list at the end of this year, I'll probably keep it to 6 books or less. And I might even include original art within the goal list because that's kind of more where my collecting, you know, um, desire is these days, especially when it comes to, like, significant investments. But yeah, Gorilla Todd says you have to prioritize. Yeah, absolutely. So let's just get right into it. So let's start with the category where I had the most success so far. Again, there were 13 books on my goal list. I did not get close to 13 so far. There is still the second half of the year, but I will be eliminating some of these goals, honestly, right now. So the first title that I put on the list was Star Wars. So this is where I've had the most success this year so far, was within Star Wars. Hey, what's up, John, John Jameson, John's Comics with Kids, John. Um, so Star Wars, I actually have been able to have some success this year with this title. What's up, Bake? My direct edition squad homie is in the house. I thought you were a moderator. Well, you're a moderator now. There you go. Um, so Star Wars 42. Okay, well, first let me go with the book that I didn't get. So Star Wars #1, I had on the list upgrade to a 9.6 to a 9. John Free is fine, yeah. Upgrade to a 9.6 to a 9.8. So I have a 8.5 CGC White Pages copy of Star Wars #1. I put it on my list to upgrade that to a 9.6 or a 9.8 this year. Haven't done that yet. So haven't quite found the exact copy, the exact price at the right time when I, am pulling the trigger to get that. But early on in the year, I was able to get, essentially my Star Wars Holy Grail, and it's the Star Wars #1, and a lot of people's Star Wars Holy Grail. It's the Star Wars #1 35-cent price variant, and I wrote here whatever I can get / find. So I was able to find and get at a reasonable price Star Wars #1 35-cent price variant at a 1.8. This is the only blue label 1.8 on the census. And it was not cheap, but it was not also outrageous, which, the higher grade or mid grade or higher grade copies of the 35-cent price variant are kind of out of control. So here it is. You see there. Oh, wait. Yeah. There, 35 cents. So definitely the most sought after comic book collector's item for the Star Wars universe. Was able to cross that off the list. So that was a big book, big goal book. Sean Richards, good to see you, man. So was able to cross that off. Was also able to cross off Star Wars 42, which is the first appearance of Boba Fett. Now, I had written 9.6 to a 9.8. I ended up getting a raw copy, and I bought this from Chris. I got issues 2319. Now, I've inspected this book pretty closely, and it is a very high grade copy. I don't think it's a 9.6. I think it could be a 9.0. to a 9.2 is my estimate, but then again, with a pressing, maybe it could stretch up to a 9.4. Who knows? I don't know if I'm going to grade this copy or not, or maybe just find another already graded 9.6 or 9.8 and add that to my collection at another time. But I kind of crossed off the book number, but I didn't cross off the grade number, so it's almost like 1.5 of these I can check off, but not necessarily 2. But it's a round up to 2. Let's say that. So I was able to get at least 2 out of 3 so far from the Star Wars title on the goal list. So that's not too bad after almost half of the year gone by. Not too bad. Next up was the Batman goal list. So the first book on the Batman goal list was Batman 251, that classic Neil Adams cover, the Joker. I had written 8.0 to 9.0 was the target. Have not added that yet to the collection, so still on the look for that. I had also written a Golden Age Batman issue at a good deal or good price, or just a price I felt was fair. I mean, when it comes to Golden Age, there's way less sales from a GPA or Go Collect, or hit historical sales, graded or ungraded. Really, there's not as many sales to go off of. So I was just looking to add a Golden Age issue from Batman to the collection as one of the targets this year, one of the goals. Have not done that yet. That is a goal that I would still like to achieve. So I'm leaving it on there. But what I am taking off is Batman 251, 8.0 to 9.0. I'm taking that off the list. So it's not that I don't want this book. I want the book, but I will bump it into 2020 or beyond. I'm not going to prioritize it over the Batman Golden Age issue, because I guess that's just, it means more to me, I guess. So the third book on the Batman list was an issue of Golden Age Detective Comics. So that's crossed off because I was able to pick that up back in January with my eBay bucks, or mostly with my eBay bucks. I picked up Detective Comics 108. So this is the first cover appearance of the Bat Signal, classic Detective Comics Golden Age issue. So I was super stoked to add this to the collection. I've shown this a few times. I think I showed this on Golden Guys. I think I showed this on Tony Sanders' What's Your Grail, but I don't think maybe did I show it on my own channel? I think I did show it on my own channel. I think I had like a birthday haul live stream or something like that way back in January where I showed this. But Detective Comics 108, super stoked to have added that. So that's 3 books achieved from the 6 books shown so far. And then that's where my momentum runs out. It just runs completely out. So bringing up my Daredevil list, I had Daredevil number 1, 4.0 to 5.5 listed. And then I had Daredevil 168, which is the first appearance of Elektra, 9.4 to 9.8, with, preferably signature series, Frank Miller. Couldn't find, just haven't really been able to dedicate the budget for these. I was hoping Daredevil number 1 would come down even more than it has, since the Netflix, cancellation and everything. And then any Frank Miller signed book really kind of jacks up the price for it, and I just haven't really been able to find the right copies for either that I would feel comfortable with. And I am going to officially cross these books off my goal list for this year. They are definitely books that I would like to add to my collection at some point, but like I said, 13 books is just too many to have on the list. So, hey, what's up, JP? Safe driving. Definitely be safe. Um, so I am gonna just eliminate Daredevil #1 and Daredevil 168. I'll just put that away, and I am no longer going to be pursuing those this year. Unless I stumble across it, and unless there's some sort of crazy deal I can get, um, just reprioritizing. So that brings me to the ASM list, where I had originally had 4 books that I was targeting on my goal list this year. And of course, I have not gotten any of them. So ASM #1, 2.0 to 4.0. I mean, that book has been just skyrocketing in price. I'm not ready to take it off the goal list because I'm afraid if I don't get it this year, it'll just start getting very, very, very pricey, from here. And I don't want to. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to take. I don't want to. I don't want to lose focus entirely over that book. But I don't know. I don't know if it's realistic that I'll be getting it anytime soon. Maybe towards the latter half of the year, um, around the holiday season. We'll see. So the second one was ASM 50, the classic Ramita cover, first Kingpin. Um, I had 7.5 to 8.0. Another book that has escaped me for a while, and I thought that maybe that this would be the year that I finally would get it, but I'm going to sort of take it off the list. And this is going to get confusing. I'm going to have to redo these cards because some I've crossed off the list because I'm no longer going to be pursuing them this year, and then others I've crossed off the list because I've actually gotten the book. So yeah, it's gonna be a little confusing. Oh well. The third book on the list was to get any ASM issue 2 through 14 at a grade, at a grade and a price that I felt comfortable with. Now I'm gonna keep that one on because it's kind of it's a more of an open-ended target. It's not as restricting or limiting as saying ASM 50 between these grades, and then like it either comes along or it doesn't, and I either have the funds or I don't. Um, 2 through 14, those aren't cheap books or anything, but there's plenty of copies out there, and finding one issue between 2 and 14 at a price and grade that I feel comfortable with, I think is an achievable goal for me. So I'm going to leave that one on there. I am going to take off ASM 300, 9.0 to 9.6. It's just not that important to me. Like, like I am an ASM collector, Spider-Man fan. First Venom, it's not, I mean, I think it's a book that I'll eventually add to my collection, but I just don't know if it's really, goal list material for me right now. I'd much rather focus on getting either ASM #1 or a 2 through 14 issue than these two. So I think I have. Let's see, how many books does that narrow it down to? So I got ASM 1, I got an ASM 2 through 14. That's 2 books. I still have a Golden Age Batman on the list, so that's 3 books. And then I have a Star Wars #1 upgrade my #1 copy to either a 9.6 or a 9.8, which I'm going to leave on the list. So really, now my goal list has been tuned down to the point where I have picked up 3 books, and I have 4 books left on the list. So I'm down to a 7-book list, of which I have accomplished 3 out of 7. It was originally 3 out of 13. The only other book that I didn't talk about was this one, and this is my stretch goal list. And this is one of the 13. It's Startling Comics #49, the Alex Schomburg Golden Age robot cover with the blonde good girl Pieta-ish cover, the one that the robot looks like Bender from Futurama. So this is definitely like a holy grail of mine, especially for someone who collects Golden Age Schomburg covers. I put anything 5.0 and below, prefer, which is my estimate as to how much I could have saved to dedicate to getting this book. Now, this is the stretch goal list, so I don't necessarily know if it's really in the same boat as the rest of the list. Now, my buddy James DS Comics recently picked up this book, and he got it at a 4.0. He showed it on Golden Guys on the Comic Core Tuesday night. Definitely an awesome book, but it's a very expensive book. So I don't know if I feel comfortable leaving it on the list, even though it's a stretch list. So I am going to take that list off, or I am going to take it off of the stretch list, because my collecting, honestly, like there are things that there are bigger books that I try to save for. So that would be one, right? But nowadays, when I find myself browsing like the auction sites and Comic Link and Comic Connect and eBay and whatnot, my interests lie more towards original art. So rather than specifically carving out the funds for a Startling 49, I would rather carve out and do a little saving and go after another published original art comic cover. Now that's kind of vague, but I'm going to just write original art comic cover as my new stretch goal thing. So that leaves it way more open-ended and flexible of a goal than one specific book that only has so many copies in existence that just continually goes up in value, like Startling Comics 49. Startling Comics 49 will come, but this stretch goal leaves me way more flexibility. What's up, Barbarian? No, Startling 49 is not the first Fighting Yank. It's that it's the cover where a robot is holding a blonde good girl, and the robot looks like Bender from Futurama. That one. But anyway, original comic art cover. That's my stretch goal. Star Wars #1 upgrade. Still want to try to get that done. Picked up the 35-cent price variant, as I showed earlier. Picked up issue 42, first appearance of Boba Fett, in a high-grade copy. There it is. And then there's the 35-cent price variant for #1. So cross 2 books off the list. And then in the Batman category, I did get a Golden Age detective this year. So that's, again, 108. First bat signal on the cover. I crossed off 251 because I'm no longer going to, that's off the goal list. I didn't get it, but I'm no longer going to go after it this year. And then Golden Age Batman issue, that will still be on the list. I crossed off the entire Daredevil category, as in I'm no longer going to go after them. I did not get them as I had planned out at the beginning of the year. And then again, we got the stretch goal, which was Startling Comics 49, and now it's an original comic cover original artwork. So that's basically it. That was the exercise I wanted to go through for myself. So now I have, I gotta do the math again, but rather than having 3 out of 13, I am now at 3 out of 7. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 books left on my goal list, and I have 1 stretch goal of an original artwork comic cover. And I just feel almost like there's a, even though it's just all hypothetical, I feel like there's a little bit of like weight lifted off my shoulders just having prioritized my own, collecting goals for the rest of the year. So, what's up, Old Wolf 65? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. How Barbarian saying, hit up Jeff, the Golden Age Guru. He has that startling book. I know because I got it for him. Was it in that collection? That Golden Age collection? I think I remember you saying something about a collection that that you helped somebody sell or something like that. I'm not entirely sure what. Anyway, I think I'm just rambling at this point. That was really all I wanted to accomplish on this stream. So, unless anybody in the chat has any questions or wants me to keep going for really no particular reason, I will wrap things up. Barbarian, I'll send you a video on IG. Okay, yeah, send me a video. Although by doing that, you're like messing with my plan here to wait on that book. But hey, if it's a nice book and it's at a nice price and I have some time to go after it, well, I might change my mind again, but we'll see. So that's gonna do it. Hope you guys had fun. If you joined the stream, if you're catching this on a replay, please like, comment, subscribe, leave maybe if you had your own goals, please leave a comment. Tell me where you're at with them if you had any. I'm kind of 50-50 on whether I actually make a goal list again for next year. Not sure. This was my first collecting year experience with actually going into the year being like, these are the books I want to get. And now that we're almost at the midway point, I've completely kind of altered it. Not completely, but to a significant enough degree where I was like, did I need the list? Anyway, I made the list because everybody was making a list and it was good content at the time. So thought, hey, why not make a list? Try to go after these specific books. Mastodon Comics, what's up? How you doing? I'm just wrapping up here, kind of thanatosing it a little bit. Mastodon Comics first year for me as well. How many books did you put on your goal list? Because this is not my first year collecting, but it's the first year collecting I ever made a goal list. So, who dat? What's up, bro? How you doing? What'd you miss? You didn't miss much. I basically showed the 13 books I had on my goal list, and I've only gotten 3 out of the 13 books on the goal list. Almost halfway through 2019 on the goal list that I had set out to make, or on the goal list that I did make that I had set out to collect this year. I'd only gotten 3 of the 13 books, and now, over the course of this stream, I have narrowed down my list to a total of 7 instead of 13. So now I'm 3 for 7, and I only have, 4 to go. And I added a stretch goal that I'm not counting as part of the list. So I feel like 3 out of 7 is pretty good. 3 out of 13 feels like, man, why am I that? Why don't I have more momentum than this? But 13 is too many books for a list. I think 6, 7, that's like realistic. Especially when we're talking about like, bigger key issues or golden age books or what have you. So Barbarian says, my list was purposefully made to be obtainable. Mastodon Comics says 5 to start with, then updated as I cross books off. Yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. Barbarian says, can you repeat your list real quick? Yeah. Well, the list that I haven't gotten was Daredevil #1, Daredevil 168. Throwing those away, as in I'm not going to be on my list anymore. Then ASM 1, ASM 50, ASM 2 through 14, just one book from 2 through 14, not all, all 13 issues. ASM 300. Decided to cross ASM 50 and ASM 300 off the list, no longer targeting those. Still targeting ASM 1, 2.0 to a 4.0, and one book from ASM 2 through 14. Then the Batman list was Batman 251. Decided to cross that off, i.e., no longer going to go after it. Then a Golden Age Batman issue, still going to go after that. And then it was a Golden Age Detective Comics issue. That one was crossed off because I actually did get a Golden Age Detective issue this year. Detective Comics 108, first Bat Signal cover. And then the last list was the Star Wars list. Still going after upgrading my copy of Star Wars #1 to a 9.6 or a 9.8. I currently have an 8.5. The book in the middle was the Star Wars #1 35-cent price variant, which I was super stoked to add to my collection this year. The only blue label 1.8. This book is like $1,000 a point ish these days. So 35-cent price variant, extremely rare book. So was able to get that. And then the other book on the Star Wars list was Star Wars 42, 9.6 to a 9.8. I crossed that off because I was able to get a copy. It's a high grade raw copy. I don't think it would grade out to a 9.6 or a 9.8 though. So I kind of give myself half a win on this because I did get a high quality copy of it, but I didn't necessarily get a 9.6 to a 9.8, and this is not a graded book. So I still would like to get a 9.6 or 9.8 of this book, but I'm not going to put a ton of pressure on myself to get it this year because I did get a copy of the book. So those are the three. Those are the three that I have achieved from the goal list, and the other ones I haven't achieved. Startling Comics 49 was also on the stretch list, the stretch goal list. Decided to take that off, and instead my stretch goal for the rest of the year is going to get a published original art comic cover. So I have 2 original art comic covers in my collection already, but those were acquired last year. So have not acquired an original art comic cover this year. So that's going to be my stretch goal there. So that's basically it. JP is home, so he can chat. Barbarian, did you say Daredevil 184? No, 168, first Elektra. So I was targeting a 168 first Elektra signature series signed by Frank Miller, preferably. But I would, for a 9.8 not signed by Frank Miller, I guess I would consider that also. But for the purposes of narrowing down my list, I just tossed the Daredevil books out. I haven't been able to focus on those really at all. So that's a hell of a list. Yeah, well, I think even after I make the cuts, it's a hell of a list. So what basically what I have left is ASM 1, a copy of a book between ASM 2 and ASM 14. So one early ASM between 2 and 14. And a Golden Age Batman issue Really no restrictions. It just has to be Golden Age, and it has to be at a grade and a price that I feel good about. And then the fourth one was upgrade Star Wars #1 to a 9.6 or a 9.8. The normal, the 30-cent Star Wars #1, not the 35-cent. 35-cent Star Wars #1 or a 9.6 to a 9.8 would cost me, I don't know, probably 80, 90 grand. So not going to do that. Thank you for keeping your eyes peeled. That would be awesome. JP's budget collecting. I need to refocus my list as well. Yeah, it's good to just I mean, I never had a list, so I didn't even really know what the best way to you know, keep myself organized. I just wrote those, wrote those on some backing boards like back in December. Mastodon Comics, I was focused on New Gods 1 for a while till I got it. Now it's a free for all. Yeah, that's how it goes. Barbarian says, but if I find any of those ASM books, I'm more than likely going to get them for me. Sorry. No. I totally understand. No qualms here. No, no worries on that. That makes total sense. All right, so I think that's really gonna do it here. I'm gonna wrap this up. I know that there's a bunch of other people on the YouTube machine, some auctions and stuff. I mean, that's one of the things that I think keeps me kind of Mastodon alluded to it. Now it's a free for all. I tend to like, hop on some auctions and stuff randomly, and charity auctions and whatnot, and I kind of like I go crazy like in these little spurts, and like I pick up a lot of stuff, and then that takes those funds away from like the original goals that I had. One example of that is this book right here. This I got this from I got issues during White Whale and issues charity auction. So, this wasn't cheap. I mean, I got a great deal on it, especially for the condition of this particular copy of Giant Size X-Men #1. But, you know, technically I could have gotten an ASM book between 2 and 14, at a lower grade probably or whatever for the same money, and that was on my goal list and this wasn't. But I just kind of, it happened in the moment, and I picked this up. So great book to pick up. Technically wasn't on my goal list, so this qualifies as like a free for all situation where it's like, hell yeah, I picked up this book in 2019, but I couldn't count it on my goal list. So I guess I could just write it down now and then cross it off after the fact, but that's I kind of feel like that's cheating. Anyway, I think I'm talking to a dead room now at this point. I think everybody heard me ending the stream. Not even sure how many people were here, but anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up. Thanks for stopping by. Hope things are going well with your own goals, and I'll probably do another video in a few months. See where I'm at with those remaining 4 books and the stretch goal, and do another 2019 goal list update stream or video. Peace out.